What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we have even more drama to break down on today's show, as Zach LaVine was incredibly disrespected by a member of the Chicago Bulls organization. You are not going to want to miss this quote. And then also later on today's show, I want to explain to you guys why I actually think the Bulls might be screwed for the next couple of years in terms of competing in the Eastern Conference, but just looking at their draft picks, looking at kind of how this team is shaking out right now. So don't want to be ultra negative on today's show, but this front office has just set this team up for failure. But let's dive into the quote from an anonymous team source that said this around Zach LaVine. This is a member of the Bulls organization disrespecting LaVine, and this is what they said. He's never won. He's done it his way the whole way and never won. If he's interested in winning, he'll do what's asked of him. And if he's motivated to not be here, one way is to come, be compliant, and be who he is. This is a disaster. This is just terrible on both fronts. I'm not, and I've been in the camp that the Bulls need to move off Zach LaVine. I just don't think it is the most healthy relationship right now, and I think both sides are at fault, but the fact that this is getting leaked out there, that a member of the Bulls organization is just absolutely disrespecting LaVine. One, if the Bulls are trying to trade him right now, why is a member of the organization absolutely scolding him on social media, having that get out there, and then that just hurts his trade value? That member of the Bulls organization, just an idiotic thing to say. Now, I'll dive into who I possibly think said this here in a second, but I want to get you guys involved here on today's show. Who do you think said this quote around Zach LaVine? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section, and I'll give you guys three options here in a second. So I will preface this by saying I have no idea who said this. This is just me speculating and having a little fun with it, so don't take this too seriously. We're in the dog days of the NBA calendar, so just kind of want to have some fun with this. But my number one option here is just a random beat reporter. I think, not saying this could be guys like Casey Johnson or any of these guys or Joe Cali, but this could be just a random beat reporter who works with a media company, and maybe they just leaked this to James Collier of ESPN. I could see that very well being the case. And, if I had to put my money on it, I think it's 99% a just random beat reporter who said this. I don't think it was any, prominent member of the Bulls organization. I just don't think they would be that dumb to have that, quote out there. And plus, if it was a prominent member of the Bulls organization, I am sure James Collier, who wrote this article for ESPN, would have leaked that, because that would have definitely grabbed some headlines. But a player or a coach who could have grabbed some headlines by saying that, what about Billy Donovan? Now, again, I think this is incredibly unlikely. I don't think Billy Donovan would stoop this low to say this about Zach LaVine, but also Jamal Collier did say this about Billy Donovan and the LaVine drama, and also, my bad, it's Jamal Collier, not James Collier, but Jamal said this. Donovan, meanwhile, believes he's been trying to get LaVine to buy into a more team-friendly playing style, according to sources, emphasizing the way the Bulls competed in LaVine's absence last year as evidence for the team's potential if LaVine fits within the system. Now, this is incredibly interesting, because this is necessarily Billy Donovan saying, hey, we were successful once LaVine went out due to injury last season. So if he wants to come back, he needs to fit in with what we are trying to accomplish. Again, I don't think Billy Donovan came out here and said this about Zach LaVine, but we've also heard that relationship is very icy, even dating back to when Billy benched LaVine and LaVine threw a hissy fit about the whole thing. Clearly they do not like each other, and also we heard that DeMar DeRozan was a very big buffer between that relationship, trying to maintain it. But now with DeRozan gone, and now this report being leaked out there, this relationship between the Bulls and Zach LaVine is just an absolute disaster, which will also be, more ammunition for me when I talk about why the Bulls actually may be screwed for the next couple of years. But number three for me, I actually think this is more likely than 1%. I was going to come on here and say there's no way Rich Paul leaked this, but here's my theory on this. What if Rich planted this to cause drama? We have heard Rich Paul defend Zach LaVine this offseason. Now, what if he just came out there and he just was like, hey, I'm going to stir the pot here in the Bulls organization. Hopefully they will be able to move off him, with a little more sense of urgency if I put this out there. And then also, Rich Paul said this offseason, saying, I want to make this clean and clear. this whole idea that Zach has been anything but professional in this situation is false. This guy has played hurt. He has represented the franchise with class. A lot has taken place during his time with the Bulls, and he's taken the high road every time. Does every player get frustrated at times? Yes, but Zach has been the ultimate professional and deserves better. Hey, Rich Paul, tell the Lakers to come trade for your man right now. Like, I think Rich and LaVine and LeBron have had conversations about trying to get LaVine to the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm sure they're looking at the Olympics and seeing LeBron and Anthony Davis absolutely dominate and saying, we got to get another third score around these two. And then, hopefully they can do enough to win a championship. But overall, this report, I think, is just disappointing for the Bulls organization. And I think they remain one of the biggest jokes in all of sports. Like, we can just take Chicago sports, for example. I know the Chicago White Sox are an absolute dumpster fire. I understand that. But I think the Bulls are even farther away from competing than the White Sox because the White Sox can get high draft picks because they are so bad. The Bulls are just remaining in that purgatory. The Bears, they're going to be fun the next couple of years. The Blackhawks with Connor Bedard, like they have a young and up-and-coming player. Even the other basketball team in our city, the Chicago Sky, like they are a fun and up-and-coming team. But the Bulls, yet again, remain one of the biggest jokes in the NBA. But I'll ask you this, not just talking NBA, I'm talking all of sports right here. Are the Bulls the biggest joke in all of sports? Big market, cheap ownership. It is a disaster here at the Bulls. But you guys let me know. Y for yes and for no. Be honest with me if the Bulls are the biggest joke in all of sports. Now, coming up next, I want to explain to you guys why the Bulls actually might be screwed. Again, I hate that this is a negative video. I like to stay a positive, or I like to be a positive guy normally, but it is just a disaster here in Chicago. But before I dive into that, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. If you guys are looking to buy a ticket to any event here in the near future, Game Time is the best way to do so. And if you guys use promo code ChatSports, we'll hook you guys up with $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. First purchase only. Download Game Time. Use promo code ChatSports. We'll hook you guys up with $20 off. And if you guys are looking to go to a Cubs or White Sox game this summer, well, you are in luck because Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. And with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Now, my favorite part of the Game Time app is the views from your seat. You see it on the right side of your screen right now. You can see exactly where you'll be looking before you even buy the ticket to the event, which obviously I love, so you know your view won't be obstructive by a poll or whatever it may be. So download the Game Time app and take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Create an account, use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Link for you guys will be in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, I'm going to be a negative Nancy now. I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I think the Bulls have actually possibly screwed themselves. But first off, the biggest reason why the Bulls have screwed themselves is because this front office has shown a lack of awareness over the past couple of chances they had a chance to move off this big three. And the fact that they are just now starting it this summer when DeMar DeRozan, his contract was up, LaVine has became untradeable, and damn near the same thing for Nikola Vucevic. They have completely hindered their kind of, momentum to this rebuild and youth movement. And Zach LaVine, you should have traded him last year. The Bulls were 24-27 at the effing trade deadline this past season, and they did nothing because they wanted to compete for a play-in tournament. I'm not saying you could have gotten more for LaVine at the deadline. Obviously, he was injured, so that would have made it a whole lot more challenging. But you could have traded him even last summer. Like, this should not have been the first time this summer that the Bulls are looking to trade Zach LaVine. This should have been done a while ago. Should have shown some more self-awareness in this team and ripped that Band-Aid off because as a front office, if you want to be smart, you got to see around corners. You got to see that this is not going to work out a year before even most fans see it. Should have dealt LaVine. And also Vooch. Why did you not trade him at last year's trade deadline? You were 24-27. You weren't winning shit last year. And excuse my language, but it is just the truth. Like, the Bulls were going nowhere last season, but they just wanted to have that one play-in tournament at the United Center and sell it out, and it was a joke. But big reason why I do think the Bulls may be screwed. So we got to understand the protections around this pick, and I don't think this is being talked about enough. So this is the Spurs-Bulls draft pick explained. So if the Bulls' first-round pick to the Spurs is protected in the selections of 1 through 10 in 2025. However, even if the Bulls keep that pick, then it goes to 2026 and it is only top 8 protected. And then in 27, it is the same thing. So if the Bulls if they are, outside of the top 10 or top 8 over the next 3 seasons, their first round pick will go to the San Antonio Spurs, but if they can somehow keep it, then it ends up conveying to the second round pick. But this is absolutely brutal. Like, I have been pounding the table that the Bulls need to get that draft pick to convey no matter what because of the fact that this draft class is loaded. But also, guys, there's a guy named AJ coming up in the class in 26. He's an absolute dog. He's going to be another franchise-altering type of player like Cooper Flagg, like Victor Wembanyama, and the Bulls need to give themselves a chance to land that pick. That's why even if you could somehow trade LaVine to the Spurs just to remove the protections off that draft pick, like, you do it. But I doubt the Spurs would, want that because they're probably looking at the Bulls right now saying, we are going to get that pick eventually over the next 3 years. So here's my prediction. I think Vooch is going to be traded at the deadline. I think the Bulls are going to ride this out. Then maybe he goes to New Orleans or the New York Knicks. Then my prediction for LaVine. I still think he's going to be dealt before the season. This is just too ugly of a situation. And I just think, both sides want this kind of era to be over. So I think the Lakers trade for him before the year. But you guys let me know who would be traded first. Give me an 8 for Zach LaVine or give me a 9 for Nikola Vucevic. I'm going to say LaVine, but if you guys disagree with me, let me know your thoughts down below. Also, give me a follow on Twitter. That's the handle right there, @PatSieps. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next time. Go Bulls.